Okay, so what is the stretch reflex and what is the function of the stretch reflex? Generally, the stretch reflex is very simple. So we have some receptors in the muscle. Well, on the different schematic later I will show generally how they look, that recognizes the situation that the muscle gets elongated. Yes, so it gets longer. Yeah, when it gets longer, wait a moment, one more time. When it gets longer, the stretch receptors would be activated. When it gets shorter, yeah, it's not. So the longer the muscle, the more activated are the receptors that recognize this elongation. The shorter it is, the less activated. So we have more impulses that gets from the muscle to the spinal cord, the longer is the muscle, the more elongated. Yes? So when we stretch the muscle, we get it elongated. And more information would be getting to the spinal cord. Okay. I should point it here in order to show you later. Never mind. So generally here are the stretch receptors on the schematic at this. Of course they are both in this muscle and this muscle, but in this schematic we'll point about this muscle, that this muscle is stretched. Yes. So and we have this afferent impulse from stretch receptors. Wait a moment. So when we elongate it, we activate the neurons, and these neurons passes information about this elongation to the spinal cord. What happens next? After it immediately activates the alpha motor neuron in the same muscle that would activate this muscle, activating contraction of this muscle. So elongating of the muscle would lead to contraction of the same muscle. This is critical. So the same muscle is elongated and the same muscle is contracting. It is just to preserve the muscle tension. Some of you told that this is a mechanism in order to prevent, for example, burns and things like that. Yes, it is not this reflex. This reflex is very simple. It just preserves some muscle tension in a stretched muscle. How it works with this famous physical examination, physical neurological examination, when you use hammer to activate the stretch reflex. We stretch the tendon. As you already know from anatomy, the tendon is generally the part of the muscle that attaches to bone. With the hammer, we can stretch the muscle by stretching the tendon. So the receptors that recognize stretching of the muscle, when we hit with the hammer, they recognize that the muscle is stretched. So spinal cord activates the same muscle to be contracted, and the leg gets up. Because what exactly we are doing when we are putting down the hammer on the quadriceps tendon. Yes, I already told you what we are doing. So below the patella we have a tendon. Yes, the ligament. It's called ligament, but generally it's tendon that is connecting patella to the tibial tuberosity. Yes, the patellar ligament. And this is generally the elongation of the quadriceps tendon. Yes, so we are by hitting here with the hammer, we are getting information to the quadriceps receptors that it gets elongated. So the quadriceps then contracts. What happens when the quadriceps contracts? Our leg, our knee extends. And this is the effect of this examination, when everything is okay with this route. Okay. This is also the basis of a lot of other mechanisms that we will talk about. And this is very, very important. Other important aspect of this is that we have only one synapses here. So generally, the information from the muscle spindles, so from these receptors of these stretch receptors, will get immediately to alpha motor neurons that will get immediately to effectors, so immediately to the same muscle. Okay, so next time we'll get to the more details about it. We'll also get information how exactly it is regulating the muscle tension in physiology. In other classes we'll get how it's controlled in pathology. Also, you will learn a bit about Golgi receptors. You will tell me about it. And in the next video, we'll exactly explain what is happening there. So focus for a moment at this. Try to understand the new concepts. And next time.